So welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 585. That's right, 585. And this is a live podcast, you could say, because it's being broadcasted on YouTube as well as on Facebook, youtube.com/Joseph Clough, Clough, or facebook.com/Joseph's fan page. So if you are listening to this within my free hypnosis app, and if you haven't got the app, you can just go to freehypnosis.app and you get all these podcasts held within the app. But on top of that, you have the ability to choose from over 100 hypnosis sessions for free within the free section. But you can also make small in-app purchases or unlock the whole app. In other words, you can create as many hypnosis sessions in the custom creation area. And on top of that, you can go ahead and listen to all of them, the general and the custom, in day and in night form. So that's just freehypnosis.app. But as I said, this is being broadcasted live, and you are listening to this most probably, unless you're here right now looking at me looking at you, you're listening to this on the podcast or the app. But you can get access to these live streams. They're all for free. And it's a great experience because you get to experience the pre-experience of us connecting. I've met so many great people like Steph and Grim, Kevin, Nail, Judy, Natasha, like all these different people who are always here. And we've actually changed with time to make it better for people in England. But yeah, it's great to see all these familiar faces. And we have like a little pre-show. And that's always nice to get connected with. And I can actually use your suggestions to have on certain podcasts, especially on Hypnosis Wednesday, where we do a live hypnosis session. And that means I get your suggestions. So go ahead, sign up to YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell, you'll get emails, and that means you can be part of the live experience of the podcast recording, pre and post of that recording. Now, in this episode, we're going to be talking about when it comes down to, look, life throws so much stuff at us. There's so much turbulence. And I want us to be able to, within the turbulence, have some traction, have some foundation, have some self-certainty, because it's so easy to get lost in the noise. It's so easy to get lost in the stresses. And sometimes it'll wake you up at 6 a.m. in the morning and you've got all these thoughts going through your mind, and you just want to sleep. You just want to be able to relax and like restore yourself. But these things, these events and these thoughts enter our mind. So this episode is really about managing the turbulence of change, okay? Now, we could quickly reframe turbulence of change. What does that really mean? Well, change is a good word, depending how you use it, right? Like you could say turbulence of change, which means doesn't feel that good. But what if we change the meaning of the words that we speak about? You see, words are something that I'm fascinated with because each word has a meaning. But you can also change the meaning of the experience of the word. So for you, turbulence and change creates stress for me. But what if we allow that turbulence and that change actually be something that it causes me to transform into something else? I was talking about this, I believe 2 weeks ago with my private program. So the people who apply, and we see if we're a good fit, and we enroll them in, and it's fully customized and things like that. It's really, really profound. That we're talking just metaphorically. If you could imagine this, let's just say that you were a caterpillar, and then suddenly something starts to happen. There is a ton of change. and you go through this metamorphosis of transformation. And as that caterpillar, before you transformed, you had what? You had one view of the world, one perception, one experience. And then suddenly you go through this transformation, and now you have a different view of the world. Now, for some caterpillars, maybe it was a very scary, maybe a very unknowing time, an uncertain time, because sometimes when the stress is coming our way, we're going through events, it feels like it is pushing us out of alignment. That the resistance that we feel makes us feel uneasy. The uneasiness causes us to have doubts. It causes us to second guess. It causes us to go, look, am I in the right place? All this stuff is showing up to me, and maybe it's pushing me and telling me I should play small. Or maybe I'll just live in the stress in the hope that everything will be okay. Now, in the hope that everything will be okay is almost as if you are allowing life to dictate that experience. Like you're there as a passenger. But I don't want us to see ourselves as a passenger in life, because you're not the passenger. You should not be the silent passenger. You should be the commander of your own life. You should be the creator, the director. You should be the script writer of your life. You should be every one of those roles, rather allowing events to affect you as much as they do. Now, look, let me be clear on this. Look, let's get serious for a second. Life can be bad. Life can be really, really hard. Things happen to us and it's not good. People do mean things and it's horrible. So there is that level of life can be pretty rubbish sometimes, but I don't want us to play in the game of allowing it to dictate who we are. I don't want it to allow us to play small. I want us to go through that storm and guide ourselves to the clear blue ocean and skies around us. You see, if we take the analogy, and I saw this many times ago, many times before me, many years ago, and it was almost like a quote saying, look, a boat is not meant to be stuck in the dock. It's not meant to be there. It's where it starts. It's where sometimes it finishes, sometimes you go back there, but ultimately the boat is to get out there. It's about going into the elements. It's about adjusting the course. It's actually utilizing the environment to get us to where we want to be. Now, for some people, you could say, well, that wind, that experience of that wind on the ocean is not good. Well, if you utilize the sails in the right way, of course, it can be a great use for us. It can cause us to get to our destination quicker, and that is utilizing the external environment. Sometimes the stress that we experience, the stress can actually cause us to grow. It doesn't have to, but it can do. We think it go into biology, if we go into, like, say, plants and so on, they are in a constant level of a form of stress. They're always reaching, they're always trying to grow, they're trying to expand. We need to be able to get ourselves to realize that we can weather this storm. We can cause the storm to propel us forward. And it is hard, and look, I'm not gonna be like all fluffy and encouraging and go, oh, it will be all good and fine and you'll love the experience. No, life is hard. Life and the experience is hard, but it's not what life happens to you, it's how you approach the life experience. I was saying this just today actually, I love challenging myself. I love the experience of testing myself. Sometimes I will do a live video And I really don't know what I'm going to talk about until that countdown starts. And I'm like, okay, I've got to start to get into the right mind here. And the reason why I sometimes do that, and I hope it still comes across in a very informative, hopefully set some epiphanies or driving you forward, but I actually put myself in situations to try to cause me to grow under stress. So we can see the stress as something which negates our potential, which causes us to play small. But what if you went into those stressful events and those turbulent times and go, do you know what? I wonder, and we said this on the pre-show, I wonder how I can grow because of this. I wonder what I can learn from this. What is the message here? What is the meaning? Because many people have a certain meaning to the words that they say and the events that they experience and the stories that they tell themselves. You can have one meaning on a set of words that you tell yourself over and over again. You may have a certain meaning that the stress is causing you to feel bad. And notice the cause and effect statement there. Stress causes me to feel bad. I'm on the effect side of the cause of the stress. But what if I change the frame of reference, change the lens, see a different perspective, and I go, actually, how can I allow this stress to make me stronger? And I was talking to this to one of my friends, he's actually my personal trainer as well, a guy called Rich. And we're talking about stress. Like, I'm going through lots of like life changes and things like that. And I was just saying, look, yeah, lots of things are happening. And we're talking about stress, and then I kind of changed the perspective, not for him personally, but almost therapeutically for me. And I say, look, working out is stressful, right? You are putting stress on the body to a degree. Now, is that stress there to break you down fully that you're stuck? No, it can break down muscles to rebuild stronger, but you're actually using the stress on the system to grow. And I actually said this other example just probably a few months ago. I live right near a wine country in San Diego, and I remember going on the tour, and they said that San Diego is a great, or the North County, I'm sure most of it, but it's a great part because you get these different elements and it causes the grape to produce more, to expand more. And it just like came to us like, well, that's what life can be like. Yeah, for some people, we may choose to go, well, this stress is going to break me. It's going to cause me to stay the same. It's going to cause me to feel lost. It's going to feel like a boat without a paddle, or we're going and being the caterpillar and having no idea what is happening. But what if we can go, well, this experience that I'm experiencing right now is not only, and I'll get to a second bit in a minute, which just came to my mind, not only can it allow me to grow, allow me to get stronger and to be more and to experience more, which would be my second point. You see, if life was always good, I remember doing lots of remembering right here. Alan Watts did a great, if you don't know him, look him up, amazing person. And Alan Watts once said that imagine going to sleep. And I'm going to probably get it all wrong. It's been a while, but it just popped into my mind. Imagine that you go to sleep and you start to dream. And in this dream, you can get to choose anything that you want. So you are literally lucid dreaming, okay? You are in control of your dream. You can be what? What would you be? Would you be the savior? Would you be like a Superman, a superhero? Would you save people? Would you get really rich and wealthy and abundant? Would you go on a life of adventure, explore different areas of the world just at a click of the fingers in this dream? Now just say you do this every single night, that you live through your life via choice creation. You are choosing the creation of your dream. You are the structure, you are the script writer of this, right? And like fully and completely, like you are designing everything within the dreams that you have. Well, guess what's gonna happen? After a while, you are going to be, you're going to be creating all these lovely, beautiful adventures where you are happy, you're abundant, you're saving, you just go for the positive route, right? You just want the good and great things. Well, after you've done that for a long period of time, he said that after a while you'll start to dream by choice real life experiences where you will actually choose not the positive but some of the pain, the emotion, the negative emotions, because you've gone through the kaleidoscope of creation of how you want it, that you get bored of it because it's only good and positive. So after a while, you're going to purposely choose emotions which may not have resonated with you in the beginning. You may choose certain events which aren't that good because you go into the place of, well, there's no resistance here. When I'm just being a superhero in this dream, or I'm just living a life of freedom, it doesn't feel good. It gets boring. So on the one hand, there's times of turbulence, of stress. You might, in this dream, choose it, which is an interesting paradigm to consider. That maybe if you dreamt so many dreams, you may eventually choose things which you would right now perceive as negative. Because why? Because you are a human and you want to experience the experiences of the positive and the negative. And it's not to say to love the negative, but to be a part of the experience. And I'm not saying, look, we are consciously creating this reality, although there is some forms of beliefs out there in the world and the esoteric aspect of things. I'm not saying that. But in that analogy, we would eventually choose some friction. We would choose some resistance. And if we're choosing some form of resistance, not in a negative way, but to test us, to challenge us. So what if we change the frame of the times of turbulence and stress and difference? That we see the contrasting experience as not something separated by ourselves, but something that we can add to, something that we can bring in and utilize, that we can tap into it and go, even though I feel pain, even though I feel stress, even though I feel like everything is saying no to me, even though I am experiencing all these symptoms in my life, maybe I can utilize it for good. Maybe I can go within the journey, within the challenge, see it as a challenge, see it as an expansion of you. And going back to my perspective, that is how I try to treat life. I try to go ahead and put myself in experiences to test what I'm going through, to test how can I grow, how can I get stronger, not in foolish situations, but in situations which will expand me that bit. Because if I start to do that small little bit, more than usual, what am I doing here? I'm expanding the comfort zone. I'm not going beyond it, I'm expanding it. And therefore, I am bridging the gap between the extreme. I'm touching it, I'm getting closer to it. So when stress happens, I'm in a more resourceful state because I've continually challenged my comfort zone. I have expanded it because the comfort zone that most people live in is actually the most uncomfortable place to be in. It's really the safety zone. It makes us feel safe, and even then it doesn't make us feel safe because we don't feel good about playing small. So really, the expansion of our comfort zone will not only help us and get there bigger and better, but it will also prepare us for any other turbulence in the future. So that's why I say going for a challenge in some form, testing yourself, facing what you experience and growing because of it, seeing it through a whole different lens, you will grow. you will expand. You see, in the resistance, you will get counteracting thoughts to challenge you too. Imagine if there's a debate. I'm doing lots of analogies which are coming to me, but imagine we're doing a debate. We want to debate to therefore convince other people, but also they're going to debate back, and it's going to cause you to what? Hopefully, if you're a good debater, it's going to make you think another level up. It's challenging you to see the world differently, to try it on and see what else is there to be learned. So imagine those events are there as almost teachers. They're going to teach us to experience life differently. They're going to teach us to see a new perspective about the world and about ourselves. So in the darkness, in the contrast, within the resistance, let's go ahead and choose together. I'm going to embrace it for what it is. I might not like it, I might not love it, but I'm going to appreciate that there's an opportunity for me to grow. I'm going to test myself and go through this transformation, going back to the caterpillar. We go through this transformation and eventually we become what? The butterfly. Therefore, I like to think a butterfly's viewpoint of the world is totally different from the caterpillar. Totally different. It's a different viewpoint. It's a different experience. We need to be able to change our frame of reference, and we may feel like we are failing a lot. We may feel like the world is saying no to us. And there are a couple of things within that. We've got to unpack it. Number one, we might need more help. We might need professional help. We might need to be helped in ways which are more custom and tailored, in a one-to-one setting, in a program setting, all of those things. On the other hand, if we just take it as a mindset point of view, we are seeing maybe so-called failures as failures, but let's change your frame of reference. We got to get back into the feedback mode. How can I learn from this? If we give in to the belief that I'm not enough, or I'm not worthy, or I'm not deserving, or I'm a failure, or fill in the blank, a lot of people have this. Most of the people I work have a belief like that. Now, as we go through that belief system, we got to realize that that is our identity. That is what we're unconsciously choosing to create based on the feedback that we experience within the turbulence, within the resistance. But remember, that is a belief. It is something that we've built up in our mind, unconsciously, sometimes consciously. Sometimes we can play into it. Sometimes we're going to get attention from it. Not for everyone, but for some people. We've got to go and break it down and go, this is the belief of my self-identity. This is how I identify myself as a belief system. Then we've got to break down that belief. Then we've got to go, yes, challenge ourselves, but maybe we've been challenging ourselves too big. Like I said, break it back. I'm not saying we're going to be climbing Mount Everest tomorrow. It's about the small steps which will create the big leaps. We say this over and over again. Take the step forward. Don't run. Don't do long leaps yet if we're just learning how to walk the walk of transformation. Do the subtle things, the gentle things, the things which will slowly expand you to test yourself and get better because of it. When we do that, we are going through this slow but profound evolution, like that transformation into the butterfly. The caterpillar will have no idea what the butterfly's view is until it becomes one. It will have one point of view. There's actually a book, I believe, called Flatland, and the whole idea of the book is like you live in a flat land, like I don't know, what is it, 1D, 2D, whatever it is. I think it's 2D, I guess. But flatland. You don't have the perception of seeing things in 3D. It's a good and great book. I've read it years ago. But it gives you this idea that when we change our perception, we'll change our experience. And I'm going to say that again. When you change your perception, you will change your perception. Your experience, sorry. I'll say it one more time. When we change our perception, we will change our perception and also our experience. Okay, we got to change these filters. We got to go all in and go, I'm ready to let this go. I'm ready to challenge myself, not exhaust myself, not to make us feel worse. Because if you think about it, if you do leap way too much, if you do make too many big challenges, it is going to create this bias, confirmation bias within ourselves that I'm a failure, I'm not enough. If I keep on doing the same thing over and over again in this big way, and all I get is no's, or you're horrible, or you're bad, or you're a failure, whether someone says it to us or whether we say it to ourselves, it's going to lock us down. We got to think about it. And I'm going to quickly go through this analogy. We've said it before, but think about you're in a hot tub jacuzzi. It is nice and comfortable temperature. Then you want the big one over there, right on the other side of the room, and it's hot. If you go into that one, you're jumping in, but you're jumping straight out because it is too hot to handle. Your body, your physical body, cannot adjust or climatize itself to get into that big hot tub or jacuzzi, which is boiling hot. So what do? We don't keep on doing the same thing, because eventually our system's going to go, that's not good. That's not good. You're going to get scared because you feel the burn, you feel the heat, you feel the exhaustion. You will just want to get out of there. Like, it's uncomfortable. It's too uncomfortable to stay in there. Well, what's the solution? Well, imagine if you built some other hot tubs, slowly getting bigger, slowly with a temperature up, and therefore you start to go into the next one. You go, yeah, this is different. It's warmer. It's challenging me a little bit. I can see and feel the experience of the heat is more than I'm used to, but it's tolerable, yet expanding. What do? You get used to that one. Then you get to the next one, the third one. That's hotter. It's bigger. But guess what? It feels okay. It's almost like the same experience as the previous one because you've had the previous experience. And then you keep on going forward to the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, eighth, ninth, and then 10 was the one that you wanted. So these small steps of expanding your comfort zone is actually causing you to be more resistant within the resistance. So you're becoming more resistant to it. And another word that I really love is that we are going to be more resilient in the change, more resilient in the experience. And it may even become exhilarating after a while. Like, you might start to thrive within it. You might start to look for more challenges. So be aware of the feedback that you're getting, but also go ahead and go, look, I need to expand my comfort zone, not to the big and great level, but to just enough that causes you to grow. Have enough tension, enough resistance. When you do that, you will go ahead and go through those turbulent times of stress. You'll go through those turbulent times of change. And yes, it might not feel good. It's not going to be the most beautiful, loving experience. But you will be more resourceful, resilient, and adaptable going into those situations of times of stress and turbulence. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that it kind of gives you, look, if I change my perspective, or if I start to do these smaller steps, if I start to think of different analogies of resistance and stress, if I think of analogies, if I went to sleep every single night and dreamt all the dreams I wanted, eventually I'd probably want to go back to this life, the life that we're living. You will start to embrace it and look for the opportunities within the stress. You'll see the stress as an opportunity to grow. You'll see the experience of one that is allowing you to go through this life cycle of events and therefore, grow. Because a life well lived is not one of just happiness. It's the journey to happiness, which is good and great, but it's also the appreciation and the kaleidoscope of events and emotions that we experience that makes us human, but it's how we deal with them, it's how we express them, it's how we evolve because of them. Get ourselves in the right place. Ask ourselves, I wonder how much fun I can have in the turbulence. I wonder how much I can learn here. For when you do that, you will start to transform. I really believe that. You're more adaptable than you think. That's what I know for sure. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And of course, as always, if you want the full customized experience, an 8-week program, a system with myself and my team, totally for letting go of the imposter syndrome and all self-doubt, all these things. It is for those who are financially secure, of course. They're ready to go all in on something to develop their career, their life, their business, because that is who this program really serves. Ultimately, you gotta really want it and you gotta go all in on it. But if you go to josephclough.info/power, it will mean you'll get to watch our mini masterclass and see if it resonates with you. If it does resonate with you and you fulfill the criteria for it, so the words that I say, you go, yes, that's me. Yes, that's me. And if you go for it at that point, you can have an opportunity to apply for our fully customized, tailored experience to let go of your issue within 8 weeks and make the change. It's not for everyone. We cannot help everyone because it's not for everyone. I'm not going to say it's for everyone and therefore not get the results. We're very, very clean and clear in getting the results for the person by choosing the right kind of person. They have certain aspects that I look for. But you'll learn that on the masterclass at josephclough.info/power. So with that, my friends, I hope you've enjoyed this experience, this episode, and I look forward to speaking to you on a future one. Many thanks and goodbye.